The alien invasion begins. The skies above Earth darkened as the Terran battle fleet emerged from hyperspace, their massive warships casting ominous shadows over the blue-green planet. Commander ROR, the battle-hardened leader of the Terran Imperium's forces, grinned with predatory satisfaction as his fleet accelerated toward Earth's orbit. The humans, primitive and weak, would soon be nothing more than a memory. He glanced out the viewport, watching as Earth's defense systems sprang to life, launching nuclear-tipped artillery shells that streaked across the void. The hull of ROR's flagship shuddered as the first volley struck, but the ship's kinetic barriers absorbed the impact with ease. These humans, with their outdated technology, were no match for the might of the Terran Imperium. ROR's claws dug into the armrest of his command chair as he prepared to give the order for the final assault. But just as he opened his mouth to speak, the communication officer turned to him with a look of surprise. "Commander, we are receiving a transmission from the human planet," Sub-Admiral Zolak reported. ROR sneered, his lips curling into a snarl. "Put it on screen," he ordered. "Let's hear their pathetic pleas for mercy before we end their species and take their world." The bridge view screen flickered to life, revealing the image of a human male dressed in a crisp suit, his white hair slicked back. ROR expected to see fear in the man's eyes, but instead the human looked directly at him and smirked. "I'm Roy Boyd, Chief Human Terran Liaison," the man said, his voice unwavering. "This is your first and final warning. Turn your ships around and run far away from Earth, because if you don't, we will utterly annihilate you and your entire Imperium." ROR threw his head back and roared with laughter, the sound echoing through the bridge. The arrogance of this human. Did he really think that empty threats would frighten the battle-hardened Terran fleet? His bridge crew chuckled nervously, unsure what to make of the human's words. ROR leaned forward, narrowing his eyes at the man on the screen. "You have spirit, human. I'll grant you that," ROR growled. "But this system and your people are now property of the Terran Imperium. No amount of posturing will change that. The only question is how many of you we kill versus enslave." Roy Boyd's smile widened, and he leaned back in his chair. "I was hoping you'd say that," he said, his voice calm. "Don't worry, what comes next will be quick." With that, the transmission cut off, leaving the bridge in stunned silence. A wave of unease rippled through the crew as the lights flickered and alarms began to shrill. Weapons locks wailed, and ROR's eyes widened in shock as new contacts appeared on the sensors, surrounding his fleet. Humanity's counterattack. ROR's disbelief quickly turned to rage as he watched the human ships drop out of faster-than-light travel, surrounding his fleet with terrifying precision. How had they known the exact moment and location of his arrival? The bridge was a flurry of activity as his officers scrambled to respond, but it was too late. Earth's defense forces unleashed a devastating barrage of atomic fireballs, the electromagnetic pulses flaring white-hot against the void. ROR's fleet, once the pride of the Terran Imperium, found itself on the defensive, struggling to maintain formation under the onslaught. ROR bared his fangs, his eyes burning with fury. This was not how it was supposed to go. The humans were supposed to cower before the might of the Imperium, not stand and fight. He slammed his fist on the armrest, barking orders to his subordinates. "All ships attack! Crush them before they can strike again!" But even as he gave the order, ROR knew something was terribly wrong. The human counterattack had been too precise, too coordinated. And then it hit him, the human's message. It wasn't just a threat, it was a warning. They had been prepared for this. His thoughts were interrupted by another transmission, this time broadcast on all channels. The voice was calm, almost serene. "Meet your gods," it said. "They want a word with you." ROR's blood ran cold as he realized the full extent of his mistake. The humans weren't just defending themselves. They were toying with him, luring him into a trap from which there was no escape. The Omega Tech unleashed as the Terran fleet struggled to regain its footing deep within a fortified bunker on Earth. A team of brilliant scientists worked feverishly on the device that would turn the tide of battle, the Omega Tech. A creation born of Dr. Lena Sane's groundbreaking theories, the Omega Tech was humanity's last hope. Dr. E.M.T. Raven, the lead scientist, pushed himself to the brink of exhaustion as he and his team calibrated the device, their hands flying over the controls. They were racing against time, knowing that the fate of humanity rested on their shoulders. But even as they worked, a sinister presence lurked in the shadows. The Terran infiltrators, led by the enigmatic operative known only as Shadow, had breached Earth's defenses. They moved like ghosts, closing in on the scientists' location. A deadly game of cat and mouse had begun. Back in the Terran throne room, King Betazoid sat upon his throne, his aged face etched with concern. The Emergency War Council had been convened, the chamber echoing with the voices of the Empire's most powerful leaders. General Kra, a battle-scarred warrior, banged his hand on the table. "We must press the attack," he insisted. "The humans are bluffing. They cannot stand against our might." But Prime Minister Valara, her eyes calculating, shook her head. "We know nothing of this Omega tech they speak of," she cautioned. "It would be wise to gather more intelligence before we proceed." The debates grew heated, voices rising in anger, but Prince Darren, the king's son, watched silently, his youthful face troubled. He had long harbored doubts about the wisdom of this invasion, but he held his tongue. The final countdown on Earth, deep within the bunker. Dr. Raven's eyes met Dr. Sane's across the lab. A silent understanding passed between them. They would not go down without a fight. The countdown had begun, and the Omega tech had to be deployed before the Terran behemoths, monstrous creatures bred for war, arrived. But time was running out. Shadow and her infiltrators had reached the outer defenses, and alarms blared as the scientists initiated lockdown. Blast doors slammed shut, temporarily containing the Terran intruders in the sealed section. Shadow snarled, her claws scraping against the reinforced door. "Find me an access point," she ordered her team. "We end this now." Meanwhile, Commander ROR watched in disbelief as the behemoth transport ships entered Earth's atmosphere. "Impossible," he growled. "How did they know?" On the Terran homeworld, King Betazoids raged, smashing a holographic display of Prince Darren. "Traitor!" he roared. "Execute his supporters." "Crush this rebellion!" The royal guards hesitated, exchanging uneasy glances. Civil war loomed. Back on Earth, Commander Axel Ree led his team through the facility's ventilation system. They emerged behind Shadow's position, catching the infiltrators in a crossfire. Plasma bolts sizzled through the air, and Shadow whirled, her reflexes inhuman. 3 human soldiers fell before her blades, but Ree ducked behind a fallen console and shouted, "Concentrate fire!" A hail of bullets forced Shadow back, and she hissed in pain as one found its mark, dark blood oozing from her shoulder. The Omega Tech's power in the lab, Dr. Raven and Dr. Sane worked feverishly to modify the Omega Tech. Prince Darren's intel had proven invaluable, revealing critical weaknesses in the behemoth's genetic structure. "Energy pulse calibrated," Dr. Sane announced, her brow furrowed in concentration. "Ready on your mark." Dr. Raven hesitated, his hand poised over the activation switch. The weight of 2 civilizations rested on this moment. "Now," he commanded. The Omega Tech hummed to life, a wave of energy pulsing outward, invisible, but all-consuming. In the skies above, the behemoths convulsed, their massive bodies twisted and contorted, genetic structures unraveling. They plummeted from the clouds, raining destruction across the landscape. Commander ROR watched in horror as his ultimate weapons disintegrated before his eyes. "All ships, attack!" he bellowed. "Crush them before they can strike again!" The Terran fleet surged forward, weapons primed, but Earth's defenses responded with equal ferocity, filling the sky with atomic fire. In the facility, Shadow stumbled, wounded but still deadly. Commander Ree advanced, his rifle trained on her head. "It's over," he declared. Shadow's lips curled into a defiant snarl. "This war has only begun, human." Together, they raced against time, knowing that the fate of both their peoples hung in the balance. The sky above Earth erupted in a dazzling display of plasma fire as Commander Roar's fleet unleashed its full fury. Searing bolts of energy screamed through the atmosphere, striking major cities with devastating precision. New York's towering skyscrapers crumbled into dust. Tokyo's neon-lit streets vanished in a sea of flame, and Rio de Janeiro's iconic Christ the Redeemer statue toppled from its perch, swallowed by the inferno below. In the underground facility, Dr. Raven's fingers flew across the Omega Tech's control panel, sweat beading on his brow as he input the final calculations. "Prince Darren, we need the resonance frequency for your ship's shields," he called out, his voice tinged with desperation. The Terran prince's eyes widened, but he didn't hesitate. "That's classified," he began, but then shook his head, understanding the stakes. There's no time for protocol now. Billions of lives are at risk, Dr. Sane shouted back. Darren rattled off a string of numbers, which Raven quickly entered into the system. Outside, Commander Axel Barrel rolled his fighter, narrowly avoiding a barrage of alien energy weapons. His squadron had been reduced to tatters, the burning hulks of human ships littering the space around him. "This is Ree," he growled into his comm. "I'm the last one left. Those bastards are tearing us apart up here." A blast rocked his ship, alarms blaring as systems failed. Ree gritted his teeth, preparing for the end. Just then, the Omega Tech surged to life, a shimmering wave of energy exploding outward from the Earth's surface, engulfing everything in its path. Ree's eyes widened as the Terran ships surrounding him suddenly went dark, their weapons falling silent. On the Terran flagship, Commander ROR snarled in confusion as his bridge plunged into darkness. "What trickery is this?" he roared, clawing at unresponsive controls. On the planet below, humanity underwent a transformation beyond imagination. Dr. Raven gasped as his body began to dissolve, his consciousness expanding to fill the cosmos. He felt the minds of billions joining him, merging into a singular, omniscient being. The ascended humans turned their attention to the paralyzed Terran fleet. With a mere thought, they neutralized the alien weapons, rendering the once mighty armada helpless. Back on the Terran homeworld, King Betazoids paced his throne room, mad with rage. "Launch everything we have!" he shrieked at his terrified subordinates. "I want that miserable planet reduced to ash!" But his words fell on deaf ears. The Terran people, witnessing the awesome power displayed by Earth, began to question everything they had been told about the so-called primitive humans. As the last vestiges of their physical forms faded away, the newly godlike humans faced an unprecedented decision. Some, their minds still echoing with the anguish of Earth's destruction, called for the annihilation of the Terran civilization. Others, swayed by Prince Darren's impassioned plea, advocated for a different path. "We have the power to reshape reality itself." Darren's consciousness resonated through the collective. "Let us use it not for vengeance, but to forge a new era of understanding between our peoples." The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance as the ascended humans deliberated, their cosmic forms shimmering with unimaginable power. A new dawn. The ascended humans' cosmic forms shimmered with tension as they grappled with the weight of their decision. Dr. Raven's consciousness, now touching the minds of billions, felt the gravity of the choice before them. "We cannot simply eradicate them." Dr. Lena Sane's thoughts resonated through the collective, her voice tinged with compassion. "We'd be no better than they were." General Krauss, a grizzled veteran whose mind still echoed with the screams of dying comrades, pushed back. "They came to annihilate us. We should return the favor," he argued, his essence flaring a deep crimson. Commander Axel Ree, his fighter pilot instincts translating seamlessly to this new form of existence, weighed in. "We have the power to reshape reality. Why not reshape them?" Prince Darren's consciousness pulsed with urgency. "My people can change," he insisted. "They must be given the chance." As the council debated, chaos engulfed the Terran homeworld. The once mighty civilization teetered on the brink of collapse. King Betazoids, his opulent throne room now dark and silent, raged at unresponsive communication panels. "Launch everything!" he shrieked, spittle flying from his lips. "Crush those human vermin." But his words fell on deaf ears. The Terran people, witnessing Earth's awesome display of power, began to question everything they had been told about the so-called primitive humans. In a secret laboratory on the outskirts of the Terran capital, a scientist named Solara watched in awe as the Omega Tech's effects rippled through her equipment. Equations and theories she had long pondered suddenly snapped into focus. "This changes everything," she breathed, her six-fingered hands flying over her instruments. With a resigned nod to her confused assistants, Solara slipped out of the lab. She had to reach Earth to make contact with these ascended beings. It was their only hope. As Solara commandeered a small transport ship, a more sinister plan unfolded elsewhere on the Terran homeworld. Commander ROR, his face twisted with hatred, led a group of loyal soldiers into a hidden weapons facility. "The humans think they've won," he snarled, inputting override codes into a massive computer terminal. "We'll show them the true might of the Terran Empire." Back on Earth, The Cosmic Council's debate reached a fever pitch. General Krause's consciousness flared red with anger. "We cannot show weakness. We must strike now while they're vulnerable," he urged. Dr. Raven's form pulsed with a calming blue light. "We have the power to guide them, to help them evolve beyond this conflict. Isn't that the true test of our ascension?" Suddenly, a new presence made itself known. Solara's consciousness, still bound to her physical form but radiating with newfound understanding, touched the edges of their cosmic awareness. "Please," her thoughts echoed through the collective. "I come seeking wisdom, seeking a path forward for both our peoples." The council fell silent, their cosmic forms shimmering with surprise and curiosity as they turned their attention to this unexpected visitor. Alarms blared across the solar system. Commander Roar's forces had activated their secret weapons, and a wave of destructive energy was hurtling toward Earth. The ascended humans faced a moment of truth. Would they use their newfound powers to obliterate this final threat, or could they find a way to truly transcend the cycle of violence that had brought them to this point? As Solara's insights mingled with their own cosmic understanding, new possibilities began to unfold. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the actions of these ascended beings about to reshape the very fabric of reality itself. The cosmic forms of the ascended humans shimmered with curiosity as Solara's consciousness touched their awareness. Her mind, still tethered to her physical form, pulsed with a hunger for knowledge that resonated through the collective. "We will hear you," Dr. Raven's thoughts echoed, his essence glowing a soft blue. Solara's consciousness unfurled, revealing intricate theories and equations. "The Omega Tech has rewritten reality itself," she explained, her excitement palpable. "It's opened gateways to parallel universes, each brimming with untapped energy." General Krause's form flared red. "And how do we know this isn't a trap?" he demanded. "Because I've seen it," Solara insisted, images flashing through the collective, shimmering portals, glimpses of alien worlds, readings from Terran instruments. Dr. Sane's essence pulsed with interest. "These energy sources, they could elevate our transcendence even further." "Exactly," Solara agreed. "But we need to study these pathways, map them." After a moment of silent deliberation, Dr. Raven spoke. "We'll dispatch exploration teams," he decided. "But know this, Solara, any deception will be met with swift consequences." As cosmic tendrils of human consciousness spread across dimensions, chaos erupted on the Terran homeworld. Commander Roar's forces stormed the royal palace, their energy weapons carving swaths of destruction through ornate corridors. King Betazoids cowered behind his throne, flanked by loyal guards. "Hold them back!" he shrieked, his eyes wild with fear. The clash of weapons and screams of the wounded echoed through the gilded halls. In the midst of the carnage, Queen Arala, her regal features set with willpower, ushered a group of civilians toward a secret passage. A stray energy bolt struck the ceiling above them, and the Queen's body moved instinctively, shielding the innocents as debris rained down. She crumpled to the ground, dark blood seeping from a jagged wound. Prince Darren, light years away, felt a sudden stabbing pain in his chest. "Mother!" he gasped, his consciousness resonating with Solara's guidance. Darren reached out with his newfound abilities, bending space itself around him. In a flash of cosmic energy, he materialized in the ruins of the palace throne room. Queen Arala lay amid the rubble, her breathing shallow. Darren cradled her head, tears streaming down his face. "I'm here, Mother," he choked out. The Queen's eyes fluttered open, a weak smile crossing her lips. "My son," she whispered, "you've become so much more than I ever dreamed." Her body shuddered with a final exhale, and Darren felt her life force slip away. A primal howl of anguish tore from his throat, shaking the very foundations of the palace. Rising to his feet, cosmic energy crackling around him, Darren's eyes blazed with righteous fury. He strode through the battle-scarred corridors, waves of power radiating from his form. Roar's soldiers, caught in Darren's path, found their weapons suddenly inert. Some dropped to their knees in terror, while others fled in panic. Commander Roar, his face twisted in a snarl, backed away as Darren approached. In a desperate move, he grabbed Kara, the palace's chief scientist, pressing a blade to her throat. "Stay back!" Roar shouted, "or I'll spill her blood right here." Darren halted, his cosmic form flickering with indecision. "Let her go, Roar. This madness ends now." Roar's eyes darted wildly. "Tell me how you did it," he hissed. "How to travel between worlds. Give me that power, or she dies." On Earth, the human exploration teams returned, their cosmic forms pulsing with excitement. They shared visions of entire universes teeming with life and energy beyond imagination. General Krause's essence flared brightly. "With this power, we could conquer galaxies, spread human dominion across all of reality." Dr. Raven's form dimmed with concern. "We must be cautious. The consequences of wielding such power recklessly could be catastrophic." As the debate raged, a desperate plea cut through their consciousness. Prince Darren's anguished call for aid. The ascended humans found themselves at a crossroads, torn between cosmic responsibility and loyalty to their own kind. Dr. Sane's thoughts rippled through the collective. "We have the power to end this conflict with a thought. But should we?" The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance as the ascended humans contemplated their next move, their cosmic forms shimmering with tension as they grappled with Prince Darren's desperate plea. General Krause's essence flared a deep crimson. "We cannot intervene in every petty squabble across the cosmos," he argued. "Let the Terran sort out their own mess." Dr. Raven's form pulsed with a soft blue light. "But we have the power to prevent further bloodshed. Surely that's worth considering." As the debate raged, alarms blared across their cosmic awareness. Commander Roar, his face twisted with manic glee, input the final launch codes into a massive computer terminal. Kara, the chief scientist, struggled against her restraints. "You're insane!" she shouted. "Those warheads could tear apart the fabric of reality itself," Roar sneered. "Then the humans will learn the price of their so-called ascension." On Earth, Dr. Lena Soren's essence flickered with sudden inspiration. "Wait, she broadcast to the Council." "I have an idea." She unfurled complex calculations and theories, drawing on Solara's research. "We can create an interdimensional barrier," she explained. "It will shield Earth and contain the Terran threat." General Krause bristled. "And leave us vulnerable to attack from other dimensions?" "Absolutely not." But the rest of the council, swayed by the urgency of the situation, voted to implement Soren's plan. Commander Axel Ree's consciousness surged forward. "I'll lead a strike team," he volunteered. "We'll infiltrate the weapons facility and take out ROR's forces from within." As Ree assembled his team, Dr. Soren and her colleagues began the delicate process of calibrating the interdimensional barrier. They reached out across parallel universes, siphoning energy to power their cosmic shield. On the Terran homeworld, Prince Darren materialized in the midst of chaos. Palace guards and loyalists rallied around him, their weapons seeming primitive compared to the cosmic energy crackling at his fingertips. "For the future of our people," Darren called out, his voice carrying an otherworldly resonance. "We must stop Roar." They fought their way through the battle-scarred corridors of the weapons facility, Darren's cosmic abilities sending Roar's soldiers flying, their energy weapons sputtering uselessly against his shimmering force field. In the central control room, Roar snarled as warning klaxons blared. "Launch now!" he screamed at his subordinates. "Before it's too late!" But before they could comply, the far wall exploded inward. Commander Ree and his strike team poured through the breach, their partially ascended forms radiating power. Roar grabbed Kara, pressing a blade to her throat. "Stay back!" he shouted. "Or I'll—" His words were cut short as Prince Darren burst into the room, cosmic energy surging around him. In that moment of distraction, Kara drove her elbow into Roar's solar plexus. He doubled over and Ree's team swarmed him. As Roar was subdued, Dr. Soren's voice echoed through their minds. "The barrier is active," she announced. "Earth is safe, and the Terran homeworld is contained." With the immediate threat neutralized, the Ascended Human Council turned their attention to the broader implications of their actions. General Krause's essence pulsed with barely held-back fury. "We should strip them of all advanced technology," he argued. "Keep them under our heel where they belong." Prince Darren, still reeling from the day's events, pushed back. "My people are capable of change," he insisted. "We've seen the consequences of our aggression. Give us a chance to forge a new path together." The council chamber fell silent, cosmic forms shimmering as they contemplated the weight of their decision. The fate of two civilizations hung in the balance, with the very nature of their newfound cosmic power called into question. The council chamber hummed with cosmic energy as the ascended humans deliberated. Prince Darren's words hung in the air, a plea for understanding and cooperation. Dr. Raven's essence pulsed with a warm, inviting glow. "We have the power to reshape civilizations," he projected. "Let us use it not for dominance, but for true progress." General Krause's form flickered with reluctant acquiescence. "Very well," he conceded. "But we maintain oversight. One misstep and we intervene with full force." The council's decision rippled through the collective consciousness. Solara, still present at the edges of their awareness, felt a surge of cosmic energy flow into her being. Her physical form on the Terran homeworld shimmered with newfound power. Solara stood before a crowd of weary Terrans, their faces etched with the toll of years under Betazoid's iron rule. "Fellow citizens," she called out, her voice carrying an otherworldly resonance, "we stand at the threshold of a new era." The crowd stirred, a mixture of hope and skepticism rippling through their ranks. Solara raised her hand, and a holographic display materialized above her, showing visions of a thriving society, clean cities, advanced technology, and Terrans of all castes working side by side. "This is not a dream," Solara declared. "With the humans' aid, we can build this future together." As her words spread across the planet, pockets of resistance began to form. In the industrial sector, workers laid down their tools. In the education centers, students and teachers alike rallied for change. King Betazoids paced in his opulent chambers, his face contorted with rage. "Traitors!" he spat, hurling a priceless artifact against the wall. "I'll crush this insurrection myself if I have to." He stormed toward the door, only to find it blocked by his own royal guards. Their weapons were lowered, but their stance was unmistakable. "What is the meaning of this?" Betazoid snarled. The lead guard removed his helmet, revealing a face lined with determination. "Your reign is over, Your Majesty. We stand with Solara and the people." Betazoid's eyes widened in disbelief as the guard surrounded him. In that moment, the last vestiges of his power crumbled away. On Earth, Dr. Raven and his team began drafting plans for the new Terran government. Holographic displays filled with complex societal models and cultural analyses. "We must be careful not to impose our own values too heavily," Dr. Soren cautioned. "The new system must arise organically from Terran culture." General Krause watched from the periphery, his cosmic form radiating skepticism. "I still say we're taking an unnecessary risk," he projected. "We should establish a permanent military presence on their world." Dr. Raven's essence flared with persistence. "No, Krause. We must give them the chance to chart their own course." As the framework for the new Terran Federation took shape, not all embraced the changes. In a remote mountain fortress, General Krax gathered his loyalists. "The humans seek to strip us of our identity," Krax declared, his eyes blazing. "We will resist their puppet government and restore true Terran rule." His followers cheered, raising their weapons in defiance. The seeds of insurgency were planted, a shadow looming over the fledgling Federation. Back on the Terran homeworld, Solara stood with Prince Darren as they addressed the newly formed provisional government. The chamber buzzed with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. "The path ahead will not be easy," Solara admitted. "But together, we will build a society that honors our past while embracing a brighter future." As she spoke, the cosmic energy within her pulsed, a constant reminder of the delicate.